Well, I can say I was a little bit tired.
Okay. I'm glad you made it on time. Ming Nok. Xin chào Ming Nok.
Yes, hello, teacher.
How are you, Ming Nok?
I'm doing great.
Good. And Ledok Ang. Ledok Ang.
Hello, teacher.
How are you, Ledok Ang?
I'm fine, thank you.
That's great. So today in Christchurch, you can see my scarf, very cold. Temperature is about 0 degrees, it feels like. So trying to stay warm. What is the temperature in Hanoi, do you think, Ming Nok?
Well, so I'm having a forecast now. So they said that it is 30 degree.
Wow.
30, yes.
Okay. So not too hot. Not too hot, but quite hot.
Yes. Good.
Okay, that's about 30 degrees more than here. I think I like the hot weather better. Okay, can you turn is your camera working, Ming Nok and Huang Ang?
Today my house connection is not too good, so I have to turn off the camera, but I will still hear. So you can call
Okay.
me. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you, Huang Ang. I can see you. Nok Ling. Xin chào, Nok Ling.
Hello, teacher.
How are you, Nok Ling?
I'm good.
That's good. Nice to see you. Okay, everyone, I'll just wait 1 more minute in case someone else joins at the start of the class. Leduk Ang. Leduk Ang. What are
Yes.
you eating?
I don't know what it's called. It's like a bear shape.
It's
Cookies.
like it's like
Bear
a
shape.
what? Like a
Bear shaped.
is it like fruit? Fruit?
No, it's like cookies, but
Biscuit? Biscuit?
yeah, biscuit, but the
Like a
inside
biscuit.
is like creamy.
All right. Okay. So it is like yeah, I think I know what you mean. So you would call that, what's the outside made of? Look, is it made of pastry? Is it made of bread? Is it made of,
Something crunchy, but I don't know.
okay. So it's like some sort of sweet.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So in English, you would say, I'm having a sort of sweet. It is crunchy on the outside and creamy in the middle, or creamy on the inside. Does that make
Yeah.
sense, Ladok Ang?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, everyone, let's get started. Don't want to wait anymore. All of you came on time, which is great. So nice to see you all, and I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. So I'm just going to look at, first of all, some more words for you, just to add to your vocabulary. Again, I think I've said to you in the past, I don't like to give you lots and lots of words because that's not a good way to learn English because it's so hard to remember. Are just lists of words, very difficult to learn and try to remember. But I think it's worth showing you some of these C1 and C2 words so at least you are a little bit familiar with them. So if you see them again, you can think, oh, yes, I've sort of seen that before. I can look it up in a dictionary. But yes, I think I know what this means. So at least I am making you familiar with these words. Before we start, are there any questions from anyone? Anyone got any questions for me? Okay, let's go. Okay, Huang Ang, can you see the screen?
I can see.
Okay, what is the word you can see, Huang Ang?
It says consumption.
Good. Okay, everyone, here's the first word. So please look and listen to this.
The act of using something. Synonyms are use and usage, and this is a noun. Common collocations are energy consumption, human consumption when we eat things or when we use things, and consumption of. For example, reducing energy consumption can help protect the environment. The environment and global warming and new technologies for producing energy, you will often use this word in these collocations. And from our essays, one student wrote, "This is because animals are reproduced, kept in small and uncomfortable places, and then killed and sold to supermarkets and butchers for human consumption." So if anyone or anything is using something within your essays, you could look through it and think, how could I use the word consumption? The next.
Okay. Ming Nok. Ming Nok,
Yes.
can you give me a sentence using the word consumption, please? Remember, consumption is a noun, means to use something. It is a formal word, just means to use something.
Yes. The consumption of processed food in America rose significantly.
Sorry, the consumption of what food, Ming Nok? Of what
Pro
food?
processed food.
Ah, good.
Yeah.
Processed food. The consumption of processed food in America rose significantly. Great sentence, Ming Nok. Okay, great sentence.
Yeah.
Just means the use of processed food in America grew significantly. Nok Ling. Nok Ling.
Yes.
Your turn, please, Nok Ling. Can you use consumption in a sentence, please?
The consumptions of electricity in the world increased due to the development of manufacture.
Okay, almost correct. So consumption doesn't need an S, Nok Ling. Okay, never has an S.
Yes.
Okay, so the consumption of electricity in the world increased because of increased manufacturing. Okay, Nok Ling?
Yes.
Okay, that is the sentence. But good, you used the word correctly. Okay, everyone, here is the next word.
Next word is competence, and this is the ability to do something well. Not the ability just to do something, but to do something well. Synonyms are ability, skill, and proficiency. This is a noun, and common collocations are professional competence and competence in something. For example, her professional competence was evident in her excellent work. And one student wrote, by allocating a certain percent of high-level positions to women, companies would reach a higher competence level.
Actually, I'll just stop there because there are a couple, maybe another word or two that you might not be familiar with. This word here, allocating. Allocating is a formal word. It just means to give something to someone. To allocate something means to give something to someone else. Formal word, very formal word. Again, remember, these are what they call C1 or C2 words. These are some of the most formal words in English. Very useful for using occasionally in essays or speaking. Shows you have a high level of vocabulary if you know some of these words. So allocating just means giving. Okay.
So often you'll be writing about maybe disadvantaged groups of people, for example, in this one, women, and you're writing about their competence in things. Next is a word.
Okay, competence. Huang Ang. Huang Ang.
Yes.
Can you give me a sentence using competence, please? Remember, competence means to be able to
Able
do
to do
something
something well.
well. Yeah,
This is
sorry,
a,
Huang.
this is a hard word to use in a question.
It is. It is. It is. This is a difficult one. Can you think of a sentence?
Mm, my my excellent competence in playing games resulted in a championship.
Okay, close. Okay, usually competence is part of a collocation, such as high level of competence. So, for example, I could say Huang Ang has a high level of competence in playing games. Does that make sense, Huang Ang?
It does. Right.
Okay, everyone. So Huang Ang has a high level of competence in playing games. Just means Huang Ang is very good at playing games. Competence means the ability to do something well. Or another example would be Meng Nok has a high level of competence in maths. Nok Ling has a high level of competence in literature. Okay, so competence is usually used as part of a collocation. High level of competence just means can do things very well. And like I say, competence usually used as part of a collocation or group of words. Okay, one more word.
Word many of you already know, I'm sure, which is corruption. This means dishonest or illegal behavior by those in power. So think about a politician maybe from your local area or your country that dishonestly uses money. Synonyms of this word are dishonesty, fraud, and bribery. This is a noun, and the most common collocation is political corruption. For example, the investigation revealed widespread political corruption. And our student wrote, for example, when details of the lavish spending of the Mayor of London while on a vacation were revealed in The Sun, it promoted questions from many sections of the society, eventually exposing his corruption with the public money. Yes, I know that student made a few small grammatical errors. Don't go crazy. It's not the student's fault. Maybe that student had a little bit of corruption in their school when they were growing up, and they didn't get the attention that you got from your very honest teachers and politicians. The next.
Okay, corruption. Probably most of you are familiar with this word, ledok ang, ledok ang.
Yes.
Can you give me a sentence using corruption, please?
My computers just have some corruption in the coding.
Right,
So
very good. Excellent. Ledok my computer has some corruption, or my software has some corruption in the coding. Okay. Chung Hu, welcome to class, Chung Hu.
Hello, teacher.
How are you, Chung Hu?
I'm fine. Okay.
Good. Can you give me a sentence using the word corruption, please?
Um, the PC have been corruption due to the virus. Okay.
Okay, so corruption is that is one use of the word. Remember, as I hope you can see on the screen here in the small box, corruption means dishonest or illegal behavior. Dishonest or illegal behavior. Huang Ang, Huang Ang,
Yes.
can you give me a sentence using the word with that
Okay.
meaning, please?
I think, let me think. I think there's some corruption in the current Valorant Championship I'm watching right now.
Okay, that's true. Usually the word corruption is often used with something like political corruption. Okay, again, as it says there, you can see in the small box on your screen. So corruption just means, everyone, dishonesty or bribery or fraud. For example, you can say there's a lot of corruption in Russia. There's a lot of corruption in Russia, or there's a lot of corruption in the police. Okay, means the police will take money to do bad things. Does that make sense, Wang Ang?
Okay, it is.
Okay, good. So you can use corruption in two ways, as some of you have already said. You can talk about corruption in software, okay, or corruption in your computer. It means something in your computer has got confused. You can use corruption that way, and you can also use corruption to talk about the way people behave. Okay, means they will do something bad, usually for money. So you talk about political corruption or government corruption or police corruption. Okay, so our three words today, everyone. Consumption just means to use things. Okay. The level of consumption of iPhones in Vietnam is rising every year. Okay. The level of use of iPhones in Vietnam is rising every year. Consumption means to use things. Competence, the other word, just means to be good at something. He showed a lot of competence at maths. She showed a lot of competence at English. Competence just means to be good at something. And the last one was corruption, of course. Corruption is a bad thing. Any questions about that, anyone? Okay. Next week, I will give you three more words. Three more words. I have a list of about 50 words to give you. Like I say, I don't expect you to remember all of these. That's very difficult. But at least I want to show you some of these words which can be useful to know. Okay, what we're going to do now, back to part 3, speaking. Where shall we start? Okay. Start with a topic I think we looked at last week. So remember part 3 questions, everyone. There are 2 strategies you can use to answer this question. Ming Nok,
Yes.
can you remember the first strategy for answering these questions? There are 2 strategies I mentioned last week for answering part 3 questions. Can you
Mm,
remember what the first one is?
I'm not too sure, but is it answer straight to the point?
No. Okay. The first strategy, everyone, is answer the question, explain, and then what is the third part, Ming Nok? Can you remember?
Oh, and the example?
Yes, very good. Okay, strategy number 1, everyone. Answer the question, explain, give an example. Okay, 3 parts to this first strategy. Answer the question, okay? Explain your answer, give an example. That's strategy number 1. Strategy number 2 is where you get asked your opinion about something. Okay, strategy number 2, you look at maybe the pros and the cons, or the positives and negatives, or the answer for and against something, and then you give your opinion. So everyone, there are 3 parts to each of these strategies. I'll put them in chat, all right? So you can, hang on, I'll just get chat up here on my screen. Just to remind you of which, or the 2 strategies you can choose from when you want to answer a part 3 question. Remember, with a part 3 question, you need to speak for maybe 9, 10, 11 sentences. Leduk Ang,
Yes, yes.
can you read strategy 1, which I've just sent you in chat?
Answers, explain, and example.
Correct. Does that make sense, Leduk Ang? How you answer a part 3 question. You answer the question, you explain your answer, and give an example. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. I'm just sending you strategy 2 now in chat. Nok Ling, can you please read me strategy number 2, please?
Number 2, look at each type of question, example, pros and cons, for and against, then give your all opinion.
Okay, so this is questions where they ask you maybe how you feel about something or what you think about something. Okay, you look at the arguments for, the arguments against, or reasons for, reasons against, and then you say which one you agree with. This is how you give a longer answer. And remember, the answer to part 3 questions, you need to give 8, 9, 10 sentences, something like that. Okay, so just to summarize, 2 strategies for answering part 3 questions, depending on what sort of question it is. Strategy 1, you answer the question, you explain your answer, you give an example. Strategy 2, for opinion questions, you look at each side of the question, for and against, and give your own opinion. Okay, I think that should be pretty straightforward. So, Gal, going to ask you all some part 3 questions. Start off with, I think I asked you some of these last week, but that doesn't matter. So these are all part 3 questions. So I expect you to give, using one of the strategies, okay, give me an answer around 8, 9, 10 sentences. Chung Hu, going to start with you, okay? Chung Hu?
Yeah.
Okay, Chung Hu. What are the benefits of getting up early, Chung Hu?
Uh, so getting up early will giving you more much time to prepare to start the day, and not even that, it will help you don't getting late when go to work or go to school.
Please continue. So remember what I said before? For example, Chung Hu, for example.
So, um,
So when you're looking for examples, the easiest thing is to look at your own life, Chung Hu. Okay, what time do you get up?
6 a.m.
hmm Yeah, and then what do you do?
Just do normal thing like brushing my teeth or making breakfast.
hmm And then what time do you go to school, Chung Hu?
I go to school at 6 and 45 a.m.
Okay, 6:45 a.m. Okay, so the answer to the question, Chung Hu, should be something like this. I can think of a couple of benefits of getting up early. One, it means you have more time to do your tasks during the day. And number 2, it helps you get ready for the day, helps maybe give you some more time to get some energy, some more time to do exercise. For example, I get up every morning at 6 a.m., I have breakfast, and then I have maybe about 20, 25 minutes to do some extra study before I go to school at 6:45. Does that make sense, Chung Hu?
Yeah.
That's how you answer a question like that. Okay, Huang Ang. Huang Ang,
Yes.
do you think it's important to be punctual?
Sure. Can you explain what the word punctual is? I
So of
actually
course,
don't
punctual means to be on time for things.
know. Oh,
Punctual. Do you know this word now?
okay,
I'll
I understand.
I'll send it to everyone. Hang on just a moment, Huang. I will send to everyone in chat, just in case everyone or no one is sure. Okay, punctual is the word. You can see it in chat. I've sent it to everyone in chat. Just means to be on time. Be on time for school, be on time. Well, you need to be punctual if you want to catch a bus. Okay. Maybe be on time for some meeting, be on time to meet your friends. Punctual. So the question was, Chung Hu. Sorry, not Chung Hu, Huang Ang. Question was, is it important to be punctual, Huang Ang?
For me, I personally think this really it's really important to be punctual because of course if you arrive on time, it will give you will give everyone's first impression like you are a disciplined person or like that. For example, I used to go school lately, but when I changed, everyone looked at me at a different eye. Um, I think the second reason should be you can do you can do extra activities when you be early. Um, like when you arrive early, you can get a lot. You can get a lot of benefits like such as you can have time to wander around or doing some extra significant things. Okay.
Okay, that's good. Huang Ang, good. You explained your answer very well. So you answered the question, you explained, and you gave me some examples. That's good, Huang Ang. Okay, good answer. Leduk Ang.
Yes.
Okay, your turn, Leduk Ang. Why do old people not like to change things? Why do
Um,
old people not like change?
in my opinion, one of the most important thing that is they are old. They are living. Don't want to break their like what they are. What is that?
Their
What is the
habits.
word?
Their habits.
No.
Habits.
Is there's another word.
Another word, they don't want to break their what's the word you're thinking of? They want to break their routine?
Yeah, yeah,
Routine?
yes. Routine. Yes.
Okay. Yep. Keep going.
And they are in the like the 19s, like no, eh, like my grandfather, he's living in the uh countryside of Hanoi, outskirt of Hanoi.
Hmm.
Yeah, he
Yep.
likes to use the newspaper and stuff, and like the older ways to live, rather than technology and cell phones nowadays. He like to communicate with his what through like paper of no through like what is it called? Like
He likes to communicate how? How? He
he
likes to
likes to
communicate.
write the what is it?
Write letters. Write letters.
Yes, write letters. Oh yeah, but
Okay.
he have a small like telephone, like
Uh-huh.
the old one, like have the what is it? Round wheels to
Okay. Okay. Okay, so you are on the right track. So you basically said that old people don't like change because they don't like to upset their routine. Is that right, Ang?
Yes.
Okay, then you need to use the word for example. For example, okay, my grandfather, who is aged, how old is he, Ang?
He's 89.
Okay, my grandfather, who is 89 years old, very much likes his routine. Every morning he gets up at 6 a.m. He likes to read the newspaper. He doesn't go online much. He likes to write letters instead of emails, and he has an old-fashioned telephone. Does that make sense, Ledok Ang?
Yes.
Okay, these are the sort of words you need to use, but please remember to use for example all the time. Your grandfather, a great example. Okay, that is perfect. All right, then just describe, to answer the question more fully, just describe your grandfather's routine and how maybe it is different from a young person's routine. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And in chat, everyone, I've sent you again, this is a collocation that helps describe one of the things that Ledok Ang was talking about. Old people are set in their ways. Set in their ways is a collocation. What do you think this collocation means, Wang Ang? Set in their ways. Old people
That
are
in
set in their ways.
listen in the voice.
What
It's
does that
like
mean?
it's I think it means that the old people keeps doing like outdated things,
Yeah,
something
it
like that.
just means they do the same thing all the time. Okay? To be set in your ways means you never change. You are used to doing the same thing all the time. Does that make sense, Wang Ang?
All
If
right.
if you are set in your ways, means you do the same thing every day at the same time. If you are set in your ways, that's a collocation. Just means you don't change. I'm sure many of your parents or your grandparents, your older relatives, are set in their ways. They don't do anything different. They do the same thing most days, most weeks, most years. They are set in their ways. Okay, again, that's a useful collocation to remember. Someone who is set in their ways is not flexible. They are not flexible, means they don't change. Okay, Nok Ling.
Yes.
Your turn, Knockling. Do you think it is important for people to socialize or be friends with their neighbors?
Mm, Personally, I think it's important part of every person's life because um, it will improve your relationship with your neighbors. You can make more friends. Um, mm, for example, in my neighborhoods, um, many children play with their neighborhoods. Uh, I think it's a part of the their childhood.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Knockling, this is one of these questions where you can use strategy too. Okay?
Yes,
When a question starts with the words "do you think," of course they are asking for your opinion. Does that make sense, Knockling?
yes.
Okay, so you can use strategy too. So you can immediately think of, well, what are the pros of socializing with my neighbors? What are the cons? All right, or the negatives of socializing with the neighbors, and what do I think? All right. So straight away I can think of, well, you tell me actually, Knockling, what is one good thing about socializing with your neighbors?
You can make more friends.
Good. Okay. What is one maybe bad thing or negative thing about socializing with your neighbors? Can you
Mm,
think of one? I can. Can you
you
think of one?
protect your security.
Maybe your security. Another one is you don't want your neighbors to be becoming to look into your privacy, if I can say it that way. Okay. You still want to keep your privacy. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Okay. You don't want your neighbors to know all everything you do.
yes.
Okay, so that is one maybe negative. And then which one do you think is better, Knockling?
Mm,
In your opinion, which one do you think is better?
I don't know.
So this is where you think, say something like, but okay, this is this is a possible answer you could give, Knockling. Um, I think that it's good to socialize with your neighbors because you can make more friends and you can find out about more things that are going on in the neighborhood. And it's good to know the people who are next door because then you get to learn what sort of people they are and that if you can trust them or not. On the other hand, one maybe negative thing about getting to know your neighbors too well is that maybe they will start to learn too much about maybe your business or your life. And you want to maybe keep your life a little bit private. You don't want everyone to know exactly what you are doing. But overall, I think it's best to get to know your neighbors because then you get to find out if they are good people and you can make friends with them, or maybe if they are not good people, then you know to be more conscious of your security. Does that make sense, Knockling?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm using strategy two to answer that question. Okay. Looking at the positive side of getting to know your neighbors, a negative side, and then what I think. Did that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, good. Knockling. So that is how to use strategy two. And for those you use strategy two for the questions where they say, do you think? Any question that asks, do you think? You can use strategy two for. Okay, Ming Nok.
Yes.
Okay, easy question for you, Ming Nok. We're going on to food now. Um, how healthy is your country's food?
Mm, I think Vietnamese food is kind of savory and is can I start again? Just a
Yeah,
little bit.
remember the question, how healthy is your country's food? So that's the first thing you must answer, okay? How healthy
Yeah.
is your country's food? Okay, how healthy is your country's food, Ming Nok?
I think is part partially healthy because there are some manufacturers still using some bad ingredient and bad and poisoned ingredients to produce some food that approach to their customers. But on the other hand, I have seen many restaurant system that they launch some healthy and maybe some like clean menu for their clients.
Okay, I think you're getting a little bit confused, Ming Nok. Okay, so this is how you answer this question, okay? How healthy is your country's food? So the first thing you do, as I said, is answer the question, which you did. I think Vietnamese food is partially healthy, or it's pretty healthy. Vietnamese food, well, it consists of a lot of rice, a lot of vegetables, and some meat. So traditional Vietnamese food is quite healthy. But in modern times, there is a lot more processed food coming into Vietnam. So many Vietnamese youngsters will eat processed food like chips and hamburgers and pizza and also things that come in plastic bags. For example, at my school at lunchtime, a lot of the children will eat some lollies or some sort of potato chips instead of traditional Vietnamese food. So I think that is unhealthy, and maybe that's why some Vietnamese people have a problem with their health because some of the things they eat. So traditional Vietnamese food is healthy, but processed food is not healthy.
Oh,
Does that
yes.
make sense? Does that make sense, Ming Na?
That is a really impressive
Yeah, so
answer. Yeah.
so that's how you answer the question like that. So you can see I answered the question, okay? I explained it. What do I mean when I say Vietnamese food is partially healthy? Okay, I explained that. Okay, the difference between traditional Vietnamese food and modern Vietnamese food, and then I gave some example. Okay,
Yes.
that's how you do it. Okay, Chung Hu. Go once more round everyone. Chung Hu.
Yeah.
Okay, staying with food, Chung Hu, tell me about the different types of food that people eat in Vietnam.
There's a lot of type of food that people in Vietnam. Uh, First is like the favorite one, like most of everyone eat it, like banana or apple. Mm, there's also a type of fruit that can use into making juice, like orange or watermelon and some soup. And there's some uh,
What other types of food? There are so many to choose from, Chung Hu. You've mentioned just some of them. Okay, you've talked about some of the fruit. Okay, then you need to talk about maybe things like rice and name some dishes, Chung Hu, like pho, um, banh mi, bun cha. Okay, need to talk about some of the dishes and then remember, give an example. Okay, talk about, for example, what sort of food that you or your family like the most. Does that make sense, Chung Hu?
yeah,
Okay, that's how you answer the question. So a question like that, very easy to answer. Just talk about some of the main foods in Vietnam. All right. And then give an example of the sort of food that you and your family like to eat. Okay. Huang Ang. Huang Ang.
Yes.
We're staying with food, Huang Ang. How are the eating habits now in your country different from eating habits in the past?
Uh, this is a tough question because for me I think I'm a new gen, so I would definitely not know anything about the eating habits in the past. But I think from my dad, I from everything I heard from my dad, it used to be different as now. Um, Recently we have eaten a lot of fast foods such as hamburgers or fried chicken, but in the past, our ancestors weren't used to eat like that. They usually ate a lot of healthy foods like ca- vegetables and rice, just something like that. And maybe they would enjoy it with a little of fish sauce too. So I
Okay,
think
good. Yeah. Sorry,
if
keep going. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry, keep going.
uh I think it's a little so I think there's a huge difference between now and then.
Okay, good. So
Yes,
the only thing you could improve it, that's very good answer, Huang Ang. The only thing again is give an example of the sort of thing that you, as a modern young Vietnamese person, the sort of thing you eat. Okay? Give some examples what you eat each day.
I did.
Oh, you did.
I get
uh,
two
Oh,
I
you
get
gave at
two
the
examples.
beginning. Oh, you did at
Yeah.
the beginning. Okay, that's right. You did too. Okay. So I think maybe change the order of your answer around will be better. Okay. So talk about the past first, maybe the sort of thing that your mum and dad used to eat. Okay. And and then talk about what young people eat these days and also the sort of thing that you prefer. Does that make sense? I think better to do it in
Uh,
order of time. Okay, so first of all, look at the past, then look at what happens today, and then give an example of the sorts of things that you eat.
mm.
Does that make sense, Huang Ang?
Okay, that's
Okay,
interesting
help.
choice.
Yeah, helps give more structure to your answer. Okay, but you have the right idea. One
All
reason,
right.
everyone, by the way, these are questions maybe you've never thought of before. This is what will happen in part three. Okay, so this is also just to get you used to thinking of ideas, okay, as well as talking about them. You have to be able to think of some ideas. Ladok Ang.
Yes.
Okay, Ladok Ang. We're talking about food. Do you think that what we eat, our diet, is important for our health?
Hmm. So I have to give a long answer.
Yes, you do. Yeah, is diet, is what we eat, is that important for our health or not?
Oh, a diet.
Yes, yes.
Uh, if you can balance like diet and normal way we eat, like with meat and stuff, you will be more healthier. Like you can balance the fats in our body, and also you don't get any wait what you don't get any like mm, that wait, that was it.
Keep going. Keep going, Ladok Ang.
Wait, hold on.
Okay, let me give you a suggestion, Ladok Ang. So the question basically is, do you think what we eat, our diet, okay, is important for our health? What do you think? Is that yes or no? Wang Ang, is what we eat important?
Yes,
Yeah, we do. It is.
Okay, good. Ladok Ang, what
yes,
do you think?
yes, of course.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the first thing you answer. Okay, so remember, answer the question is the first part of the strategy. Yes, of course, it's important that we need to eat some good food for our health. Okay, we need to eat a balance of, fruit, vegetables, as well as protein. Okay, protein, you get protein from rice, you get protein from meat. Then give an example, the Doc Ang. Tell me about what is in the Vietnamese diet and is it healthy? Does that make sense?
Well, my mom sometimes go have a diet, so she has like just nuts and like some sort of what call it? Wait, no.
Mm-hmm.
Just have
Yeah,
some
no,
vegetables like um
yeah.
it's normal just vegetable. No meat. Sometimes that she can balance her diet every month. She have like a 7 days diet. Yes. And
Okay.
that yes, that would increase her mental health.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know. Yes.
All right.
All right.
Also, remember, by the way, everyone, there are two meanings. I'm glad we came across this question, Ladok Ang. There are two meanings to the word diet. One meaning is the meaning Ladok Ang is talking about, okay, where you diet by maybe not eating so much food and you only eat certain types of food. Is that right, Ladok Ang? That's what you're talking about?
Yes. I
You
just
don't
talk
eat,
about
okay,
certain
you are
stuff.
you are careful about what you eat. If you go on a diet, a diet means you try not to eat too much and you only eat maybe certain types of food. I think Ladokang, you were talking about your mum maybe eats a lot of nuts. Is that right?
Yes. And also
Okay. And
vegetables.
also, yeah,
Vegetables.
and also vegetable, nuts and vegetables. It is a diet. There's two meanings to the word diet. When you talk about the Vietnamese diet, okay, that means Vietnamese food. Okay, what is the traditional Vietnamese diet? Okay, so diet has two meanings. Diet just means food in the general sense, like the traditional Vietnamese diet, okay, is rice, vegetables, some meat. Okay, but to go on a diet means to reduce the amount of food you eat. So there are two different meanings. Does that make sense, Ladok Ang? Okay, so I hope I cleared that up with everyone. So diet Again, many English words have two meanings. I'm sure you know this already. So diet can just means food, but to go on a diet means to reduce the amount of food you eat. Okay, just two more of these. Nok Ling. Nok
Yes.
Ling. Okay, still talking about food. What sort of foods do you think makes a balanced diet, Nok Ling? A balanced diet.
I think a balanced diet include meats and vegetable. Um, Nowadays, many youngsters in Vietnam eat fast food like fried chicken or bánh mì in some store in the street. Um, I think it's increased the percentage of obesity, but uh, some traditional Vietnamese dishes from home, um, like my mother dinner, she commonly cook very healthy diet. She 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 always add nuts or vegetable in every dishes. Beside, I think it's important to have a healthy diet, but we need to uh take more exercise to improve our health.
Okay, this is good answer, Nok Ling. Okay, this is good. Okay, you are thinking of several different reasons. Um, the only other thing I might add, Nok Ling, is give an example of what you eat. Okay? So remember, you can say, I try to eat a balanced diet. Okay, so for example, in the morning I have some rice for breakfast, but during the day I try to eat some fruit and vegetables as well, and I try not to eat too much meat.
Yes,
Okay, so give an example just like that, simple example. Okay, of maybe what you eat. Or you can even remember you can. This is just a conversation, everyone. So you can say, actually, my diet is not very good. It's very unbalanced. I like eating pizza too much. I'm really fond of cheese. I eat way too much cheese. And I also like eating a lot of ice cream, which is very bad for me, I know, but I can't help it because I like it a lot. So my diet is not very balanced, but I will try to do better in the future. Does that make sense, Knockling? Something like that.
yes,
Okay, so again, when you're thinking of an example, just think of what you and your family do or what you and your friends do is the easiest thing to think of when you're answering this sort of question. But that was pretty good, Knockling. Okay, you have the right idea. Okay, one more of these. Ming Nok, last one for you.
Yes.
How do you think, Ming Nok, eating habits might change in the future? What do you think?
I think in the future, people will concentrate on some balanced diet and approach to eat clean lifestyle because nowadays there are a lot of risk of food poisonings by some poison poison ingredients that made the food. So I think in the future, people will try to um, maybe using some organic ingredients and maybe adding more and more vegetable in their diet to, in addition to keep keep fit, but also um, maintain their health.
Okay, so that's pretty good, Mengnock. So this is one where, what do you think how diet might change? That is for some people. Remember, for other people, here's another thing to think about. Other people, their life is getting busier, okay, and more
Yes.
complex, especially maybe for young people who have to go to school all day, then they do extra classes in the afternoon and evening. they don't have much time to worry about their food. So maybe in the future, some young people, their diet will get worse because they just need to eat fast food in a hurry. And fast food is usually unhealthy. So while some people might like to concentrate on eating healthier food, other people, because of life getting faster, okay, will
Yes.
eat less healthy food. So that's something else to think about for this sort of question. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so again, you're looking at two sides of this, and then
Yes.
think, what am I going to try and do? Okay?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, so you can say, for example, I'm a busy student. I have to spend many hours at school and then I study in the evening, and then I have to help my mum with the things around the house. Okay, and I have to help my brother or sister with their study too. So my diet isn't as healthy as I would like. Maybe I eat too much fast food, but at least I am aware of that, and I will try to change in the future. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes,
You
I
can
understood.
give an answer like that. All right. Okay. Thank you, everyone. So hopefully that gave you an idea, all right, of how to answer part one. Sorry, how to answer part three questions. Just before we finish that, can you tell me again the two strategies? Chung Hu,
Yeah.
what is strategy number one for answering part three questions?
Answer,
Yep.
explain, then example.
Perfect. Answer, explain, and example. And Ledok Ang,
Yes.
strategy number two for answering part one questions.
Look at each side of a question,
Yep.
examples, pros and cons, for
Yes.
and against, and give your own opinion.
Correct. Okay. Very good. That's great, Ledok Ang. And you use the part two strategy usually for questions that start, do you think? Yeah. Do you think Vietnamese diet is healthy? Do you think Vietnamese diet will change in the future? Okay. Do you think I do, the Vietnamese government is corrupt? They won't ask you that question, but that's just an example. Do you think is where you use strategy two? Any questions that start, do you think? Other questions, just use strategy one. Give an answer, explain your answer, give an example. And like I was saying, the best examples come from your personal life. Okay, what you do, what your family does, what your friends do. Are there any questions about that? Okay, for the rest of the lesson, back to writing task two. All right, let's just first of all revise what we looked at last week with writing task two. There are 5 different types of essays in task two. The structure is slightly different for each one. So that's why you have to know what sort of essay you are going to be writing by looking at the question. What is Huang Ang? What is
Yes.
essay type number one, please?
It's opinion.
Opinion. Can you please read the rest of that line, Huang Ang?
Do you agree or disagree? To what extent do you agree or disagree? Do you think X dot
That's
dot dot?
right. Do you think, etc. And here is an example of an opinion essay question. Okay. Children watch a lot of TV and video games. Some people think these activities are not beneficial. To what extent do you agree or disagree? This is an opinion essay. Okay. And remember the important thing with opinion essays, you pick one side only. Okay. So you decide, do you agree video games are bad for children, or do you disagree with that? Pick one side only, not both sides. Both sides is where you have a discussion essay. Okay, this is the second type of essay, and it will have something like this as part of the question. Discuss your viewpoint on this issue. Okay, this is where you look at both sides, where it says in the question something like discuss. So agree, disagree is an opinion essay. Discuss is where you look at both sides, or positives and negatives, or pros and cons. All right. Type number 3. Ledok Ang, what is essay type number 3?
Is cause problem causes problems and solution. What
Good.
are yeah, what are the cause of accident? What problems does X cause? What are some possible solution?
Good. So a problems and solutions essay. Here is an example. Okay. Water pollution has become a problem. What causes water pollution? All right. And then what are some solutions? How can we prevent water pollution? Okay. Advantages, disadvantages essay. All right. Fairly obvious which one that is. Okay. Very similar to a discussion essay. Okay. Looking at the pros and cons, advantages, disadvantages. Very similar. And the last one, a double question essay. Okay. Again, similar to problems and solutions, may be similar to advantages, disadvantages. Okay. In this question, doctors suggest old people exercise regularly. Okay. What are reasons why old people don't exercise? What can be done to encourage them to exercise more? Okay. So this one also a problem and solution essay. All right. So again, all these 4 types, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, very similar structure. Opinion is the only one the structure changes a little bit. Opinion, remember, you just choose one side. Now, it's important to know the structure because this will help you plan your essay. Now, an essay, a part 2 essay will take you 40 minutes to write. 40 minutes. Of that 40 minutes, you should probably spend maybe about 6, 7, 8 minutes planning. Planning. You have to think of ideas. The good thing, once you know the structure, you only have to think of a couple of ideas, no more than 3 ideas. All right? Don't have to think of any more than 3 ideas. Usually just a couple of ideas is good enough. Because how many, not Ling,
Yes,
how many paragraphs in a part 2 essay?
there are 4 paragraphs.
Correct. Okay. Do you know what, can you remember what they are? What's the first?
Introductions.
Correct. Introduction is where you paraphrase the thesis statement. And remember, everyone, this is the thesis statement. Okay. You will always get a thesis statement at the start of every part 2 essay. And this is what you paraphrase. This is what you paraphrase. Okay. Knockling, next paragraphs. Okay. Introduction. Then what's the next paragraph?
Is 2 detailed paragraph.
Correct. 2 detailed paragraphs. And the last paragraph, Knockling?
Is the conclusion paragraph.
Correct. Very good. Okay. So introduction or paraphrase, 2 detailed paragraphs, conclusion. Now, your 2 detailed paragraphs is where you write about each of your 2 ideas. So that's why I say you only need to have 2 ideas. Okay, 1 idea for each paragraph. And again, it's very similar structure to what we were just talking about for speaking. Okay, in detail, each detailed paragraph, you present your idea, you explain your idea, and the last sentence of your detailed paragraph, Ming Nok, is usually what? The last sentence of your detailed paragraph,
Is a conclusion.
no, of your detailed paragraphs. Okay, remember I said your detailed paragraph, you present your idea, you explain your idea,
Oh,
and then
yes.
what is the last sentence?
It's an example.
Is an example. Correct. Okay, very similar structure to part three. And it's important you memorize this structure because it will make writing the essay much easier. Okay, you just follow the structure or framework for any essay, much easier, okay, than trying to write an essay without having any structure. You just know you have to think of some ideas and put them into the structure. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do though is we're going to go back and practice a little bit of paraphrasing. In chat, everyone, okay, in chat, I want you to paraphrase for me this thesis statement. Actually, I'll send you the words thesis statement in chat. Just doing that now. Okay, finally. Chung Hu, can you see the words thesis statement in chat?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, good. So remember, everyone, thesis statement, okay, is the first part of your essay question. Okay, this is the thing you need to paraphrase in your introduction. Okay, so everyone, can you please send me now in chat a paraphrase of this thesis statement? Education should be free to all people and should be paid for and managed by the government. Okay, so everyone, please send me a one-sentence paraphrase of this. Should be able to do this in 2 minutes. And remember, the main way you do paraphrases: one, you use synonyms; two, you change the order of some of the words; three, you use different forms of some words. And of course, you can't paraphrase every word. Why do they make you do a paraphrase? Because they want to test your vocabulary. That's all. That's why you do the paraphrase. A paraphrase is just a test of how much vocabulary you know. Do you know synonyms? All right, so everyone, please, you should be able to do this within a couple of minutes. Just a simple paraphrase. Remember, if this was a real essay, you would only have a couple of minutes, maybe less, to do this. Okay, Huang Ang, that's pretty good. Huang Ang, good. Just one mistake. Huang Ang, can you see what you've written?
I can.
Yeah. Your third to last word, Huang Ang, what should it be? Your third to last word.
Oh my God, I missed the F letter.
You did. Very good, Huang Ang. Okay, good. Chung Hu. Chung Hu.
Yeah.
Okay, so remember for the paraphrase, Chung Hu, I don't want your opinion. Okay, for the paraphrase. I don't want, all I want you to do is rewrite the thesis statement so that it means the same thing. Okay? Does that make sense, Chung Hu?
Yeah.
I, for the paraphrase, I don't want your opinion. I just want you to rewrite it using different words or different structure. I'll send you an example in just a moment. Okay, Nok Ling, thank you. That's not bad, Nok Ling. That's pretty good. Ming Nok, thank you. Ming Nok,
Yes.
okay. This, I'll send you a collocation, Ming Nok. This is the one to remember, okay, for these sorts of essays instead of what you've written. Can you see what I've sent you, Ming Nok?
Yes, I can see it clearly now.
Okay, good. So instead of saying there are some arguments, you say some people argue that. Okay?
Yes.
Some people argue. You can use this all the time. Okay, Mingno? Some
Yes.
people argue. Start your essay like that. Some people argue that. That is the collocation to remember. Okay, Ladok Ang, thank you. Okay, Ladok Ang.
Yes.
Okay, that not bad, Ladok Ang. Just one small mistake. Education should be free for all people. Okay, you don't need to reach. Okay, so you can just say education should be free for all people and, excuse me, and the government should pay and supervise it. Okay, Ladokang?
Yes.
Okay, don't need to reach. Education should be free for all people and the government should pay and supervise it. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay, that is it. All right. Okay. Next one, everyone. Okay, can you please paraphrase the next thesis statement? The one I've highlighted. Nowadays, children watch a lot of TV and play video games. However, some think these activities are not beneficial for a child's mental health. Okay, please paraphrase that thesis statement. So what you did before, most of you, was on the right track. Okay, just want to give you some more practice at that. And also some more practice at using correct English. Chung Hu, Chung Hu.
Yeah.
So remember, I don't want your opinion at the moment, Chung Hu, okay? Not right now. So please just rewrite the thesis statement using synonyms and maybe changing the structure, okay? Does that
Yeah.
make sense, Chung Hu?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Knockling. Very fast. That's good. By the way, everyone, I've just sent you a couple of synonyms in chat. Okay? Instead of saying all people, you can say everyone. Instead of saying managed, you can say supervised. Okay? Just a couple of synonyms to remind you. Knockling. Knockling.
Yes,
That is an excellent paraphrase, Knockling.
thank
Very
you.
good. Very good, Knockling. Exactly that. Okay? Just that. Do that in the exam, Knockling. That will help a lot, okay? All right, I will share that with everyone soon, Knockling, because you are using simple words, but they are correct, okay, which is good. Okay? That's exactly right. Okay, who is next? Huang Ang.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, I'm just reading your one now, Huang Ang. Okay, that's pretty good, Huang Ang. The only thing I will change, you don't need to say it is said that. Okay, Huang Ang?
All right.
Just start with recently. You can start with recently, okay?
Okay.
So, for example, recently youngsters spend much more time on TV and electronic devices, okay?
Okay.
So don't need to say it is said. Just recently, youngsters spend much more time on TV and electronic devices, and these aren't advantageous. Good use of advantageous. Huang Le, Huang Ang. Very good. Okay, Chung Hu.
Yeah.
Instead of nowadays, Chung Hu, can you think of another way of saying nowadays? Not until now. Nowadays.
Nowadays.
Nowadays. Can you think of another way of saying that? A synonym for nowadays? Begins with
Um,
the letter T, Chung Hu.
Today.
TH, TH,
No. It.
TH.
It. Yeah.
Can you think of THE? Instead of nowadays, you can say
Um, yeah.
TH, THES.
This.
Ơi,
Okay.
chết mẹ rồi.
Okay, I just sent you the answer in chat, Chung Hu. What is it?
Oh, this day.
Yes, these days. Nowadays means the same thing, okay? So when you see nowadays, just use these days, okay? So you could say these days, what can you say instead of children, Chung Hu?
Um, young
Children are young what?
youngster.
Youngsters or young people. So you can say these days, youngsters. Um, what word can you say instead of watch, Chung Hu? Begins with the letter V. V.
Will.
Yes. These days, youngsters view. Okay, Chung Hu? That's how you do your those are some of the synonyms to help you do your paraphrase, okay? Does that make sense, Chung Hu?
Yeah.
Okay, so you could say these days youngsters view a lot of TV and video games. Okay, and your next sentence is fine. However, some people think this will affect their mental health. Okay. Leduk ang.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, very good. Leduk ang. Great. Perfect.
All right.
And Ming Nok.
Yes.
Okay, just looking at yours, Ming Nok. Okay, not bad, Ming Nok. Again, just the beginning. Okay. You don't need to say there are some common beliefs. Doesn't sound quite right in English, okay? So you can leave all of that out, Ming Nok, okay?
Yes.
Okay, so you just say recently young people are allocating a lot of their time. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Does that
yes,
make
yes.
sense, Ming Nok? Does that make
Yeah.
sense? You don't need to say there are some common beliefs. You don't need it, and it kind of doesn't make sense, all right? It does and it
Yes.
doesn't, but it's not the sort of thing that a good writer of English would write, okay? You would just say, recently, young people are allocating a lot of their time, okay?
Yes.
Okay. Have I done KIS with you, Ming Nok? What have I sent you in chat, Ming Nok?
I think I have heard it before.
Yeah, what does it mean?
Oh, keep it simple.
Yes, keep it simple, Ming Nok, okay? Always try to keep it simple. Okay, some people think, and some people will tell you that to get a good score in IELTS, you have to make things really complicated and complex and use lots of formal language and write a lot. Okay, you don't. You don't. Okay, remember, this is different from Vietnamese essays. Okay, where I know you
Yes.
have to write, where I know you have to write a lot. Okay, for Vietnamese literature. Okay, the IELTS test is the structure is quite different. All right, they are just interested in how well you can communicate. Okay, one of the key things to communicating is just keeping it simple. Does that make sense, Ming No?
Yes, but I think I have
Okay,
to put a little bit in vocabulary, but I think I try to
yeah,
keep it simple the
just
next time.
just communicate your ideas simply but correctly. That is the key. All right. So that's why I say you don't need to say there are some common beliefs. Okay. You just say
Yes.
recently young people are allocating a lot of their time to TV and video games.
Yes.
Okay. Much
Keep.
simpler and much better communication, and you'll get a better mark for that. Okay. And
Yes.
and also, funnily enough, it's easier for you to write as well. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I hope that makes sense. All right, everyone. Again, that was pretty good. Okay. That was better. All right. Now, what I want you to do now, just for the last 5 minutes of this class, okay, this, remember, is an opinion essay. All right, because it says, to what extent do you agree or disagree? Chung Hu, Chung Hu.
Yeah.
Okay, now comes the time where you give your opinion, Chung Hu, but I just want you to tell me, okay? Children watch a lot of TV and video games. Some people think these activities are not good for children. What do you think, Chung Hu?
Uh,
I want
for
two
me,
ideas, Chung Hu, two ideas, two ideas.
I agree that watch
Hmm.
video game and watching TV and play video game too much will affect youngster mental health because they first it will make them become addicted, making
Hmm.
them spend less time with family and friends.
Good.
Two,
That's enough, Chung Hu. That's good. Okay. All right. One idea is they become addicted. Okay. Number two is they spend less time with family and friends. Remember, I said you only need two ideas, and the ideas don't have to be complicated, just simple. And so you can write about them. Does that make sense, Chung Hu?
Yeah.
Okay. Just two simple ideas is all I need. That was good, Chung Hu. Okay. One, video games can become addictive. Two, if your child is spending too much time in front of a screen, they're not spending time with family and friends. Wang Ang, Wang Ang,
Yes.
do you agree or disagree? And what are your reasons?
For me, I would absolutely disagree because I will just take as an example of myself.
Hmm. I thought you would. Yes, go on. Go on, Huang Ang. I thought you would do this. Yes, go on.
Yeah, because obviously I play video games like almost every day and
Hmm.
just 10 hours straight, 10 hours a day, and look what I am now. I'm
Right. Yes. Okay. All right. That's one reason. Okay. You can say, I play video games 10 hours a day and I'm fine. Is there another reason? Need to give two reasons. Fang Ang, can you think of another
oh
reason?
oh of course playing game not we play games not just for entertainment. We also play there's also a lot of things and lessons in games that they can teach you.
Great, Huang Hung. Excellent. Okay. So everyone, we've had two good answers so far from Chung Hu, who says, yes, video games are bad because one, they're addictive. Two, um, takes up a lot of a child's time. We have the opposite view from Wang Ang, who says, no, okay, video games are not bad because one, he plays a lot and it doesn't hurt him. And two, he learns other skills from video games. Is that right, Wang Ang?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So I'm glad we got these two examples because remember, it doesn't matter what side you choose. Doesn't matter. Examiner doesn't care as long as you can present some reasons for your arguments. Ladok Ang.
Yes.
Okay, what's your opinion on this topic, Ladok Ang?
Wait, what did you just say?
Yeah, what is your opinion on this topic that we're talking about? Video games for children.
Uh, yes, many people think that is bad for children to
Hmm.
play video
So
games.
yeah, what do you
So
think? What do you think?
I think yeah, I agree with it
Yeah,
because it
because two
it
reasons. Because
it consumes too much time, and
mhm.
also it does affect have a bad effect to our health if we play
Okay,
too
good,
much.
good. Okay, thank you,
Yes.
Ladukang. Remember, all I want is two reasons, two simple reasons. Good. Knockling,
Yes,
agree or disagree with this?
I agree with this because the first is it disrupt your study. The second
Hmm.
is it result in violent behavior.
Sorry, what behavior, Knockling?
Violent
Oh,
behavior.
violent behavior. Okay, can result in violent behavior. Okay, good. One, disrupts your study. Two, can result in violent behavior. Good. Ming Nok.
I think TVs and video games all have both have their disadvantage and advantages.
Okay, so remember, this is an opinion question, Ming Nok. Pick one side. Do you agree or disagree? Which one?
I think I agree with it because TVs and video games may lead them, I think may represent them some violent
Hmm. Violent.
behaviors
Yeah.
and also some
Also.
aggressive behaviors that affect their young and immature mind. So yes, it will carry it into the brain and
Okay,
become
that's
a
that.
bad person.
Okay, good. So that's basically the same reason. Okay, can you think of another one? Okay, can
Another
you think of
one.
another one? Yeah, yeah. That's
Oh,
those two reasons were pretty much the same. Okay. All right. So you're saying video games can encourage or develop violent and aggressive behavior.
Yes.
Okay. Can you think of another reason why video games are bad?
Games are bad.
Hmm.
I think they will like full focus on game that they forgot about mm, caring about their health and their fit. Like it may cause obesity
Okay.
or
Yeah.
diabetes.
Okay. So video games are unhealthy for their lifestyle. Is that what you were saying?
Yes.
Okay, good. So remember, you need to pick one side. Okay, Mingna, for an opinion
Yes.
essay like this, which is where they ask you, do you agree or disagree, or to what extent do you agree or disagree? Must pick one side, must have two reasons. Okay, Mingna?
Yes.
Okay, and remember, everyone, those two reasons, they are going to be the opening sentence of detail paragraph 1 and detail paragraph number 2. Okay, everyone, that is the end of the lesson for today. Thank you for studying so hard. You've been really good today. You guys, okay? I've heard some good ideas from you. Okay. And I hope you understand a bit more now about both the structure of part 3 speaking, the two strategies we looked at to answer the questions, and also the structure of part 2 writing. So, Ming Nok and Nok Ling, can you just stay behind for a couple of minutes, please?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay, everyone else. Okay, thank you for coming to class today. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Hope you can relax a little bit. And I hope you have a great week. I look forward to seeing you all again next Sunday. Huang Ang, you make me laugh a lot.
All right.
Okay, with your reason. But your reasons are very good, Huang Ang. Okay, very good. Okay, I have no problem with your reasons, Huang Ang. They're very good. All right, everyone. Enjoy your week. Thank you, Ladok. Great to see you. See you all next Sunday. Tạm
Goodbye,
Goodbye,
teacher.
teacher.
Tạm Okay, Knockling, did you see the message I sent you about your essay?
No, I didn't see.
Okay, I replied to you earlier this morning, Knockling. All right, so I will look at your essay in the next couple of days. Okay, Knockling?
Yes.
Okay, and I will send it back to you. All right?
Yes, thank you.
No, you're welcome. I'm glad you're doing. I'm always happy to help people who want to practice. Okay, always very
Yes.
happy to do that. Okay, Knockling, thank you. Have a good week,
Yep.
and okay, see you next time. Bye bye. Okay, Ming Nok.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so you saw I can confirm those speaking times. Okay, so 10
Yes.
o'clock on Wednesday and Thursday. Now, Mrs. Ha says she's going to send me those questions you want to practice. Is that right? From the second quarter, you said, of 2025.
Oh, yes, I have I have found a lot of like the forecast for the second quarters, and I can send you through Gmail right now.
I
Okay,
think
that's fine.
you should send his email. Okay.
Yeah, just
Vâng, để
send
con
to
gửi
my
ngay email.
just send to my email,
Okay.
Ming Nok.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. So that's fine. We can practice those, Ming Nok. Just one thing I wanted to say, well, we can practice these. Please remember, don't try to memorize the answers.
Of
Okay?
course.
Yes.
Okay, Ming Nok.
Um,
Otherwise, if you try to memorize answers, that's not good. They want to hear you communicating naturally. Okay? So of course we will be practicing answers for these questions.
Yeah.
All right. And
yes.
if you get the same questions in your test, that's great. All right. But
Yes.
try not to memorize the exact sentences. All right.
Yes.
Of course you can already think of the ideas. That's fine.
Yes.
But you
I
don't
think I
need
learned. Yeah.
yeah, but you don't need to memorize the exact sentences, because if they think you are doing that, they will give you a bad mark for that. Because of course
Yes.
that is not a that is
Yes.
not a test of communicating. That's just a test of memory. All right, and that's not bad.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
I think Minh Ngọc can communicate to examiners very naturally and normally. So you don't,
Yes,
yes, don't think about like following any special structures. Mhm.
Yeah.
That's on
Thực ra là
what's
kiểu
about that topics that you need to know, right?
yeah.
Yes,
Vâng.
and you have some practice with the teacher. I think that's enough. And try to communicate to the examiners naturally is the best thing.
Mm,
Yes.
exactly,
Yes.
exactly. Does that make sense, Ming Nok?
Yes, I understood it. But I think I
Yeah,
learned your advice better. That is a communication test, so I try to talk as naturally as I can. But
exactly.
I think yes, but sometimes I learn the forecast because I want to know that which topic will they choose. Maybe like there are something I find it confused, like the outer space. I have never think of it before. Or
Okay, okay.
maybe yes, a lot of topic that I haven't heard before, maybe like archaeology. That is such a really difficult topic.
It is, it is. Okay, we can look at that. I can give you some ideas, of course, Ming Nok, okay?
Yes.
I can give you ideas, but yeah, I just want to make sure don't practice your answer too much, okay? But I can give you some ideas, of course,
Yes.
of what you might. But Mrs. Ha is absolutely correct. You can communicate just like you're doing now, Ming
Yeah,
Nok. You
just like
communicate very
we're
well.
doing now, right?
Yeah,
Very
you can.
naturally and very
Yeah,
confidently.
yeah.
So I
Ex
don't think you need to learn because I saw already forecast like a quarter one or quarter two, but exactly it's the same previous years. Not much change. It's yeah, but some questions or some fields, like a special field. So maybe now there are more different fields like AIs or something about ecologies, something like that. So you need to know the new vocabularies about that topics to talk about. But mainly
Yes.
based on like the ideas and
Yes.
the ways you communicate. That's all, right, teacher?
right, exactly right,
Mhm.
Mrs. Ha. Exactly right. Yeah. Okay. Do you understand that, Ming Nok?
Yes, I understood it, but I think I have to practice a lot.
Yes, of course. Of course.
Yes, of course, but not yeah, but not too much, and don't get too complicated. Like the question I asked you when we were practicing part three before, Ming
Mhm.
Nok. You tried to get too complicated with your answer,
Mm.
whereas the
Yes.
answer was quite simple. Just talking about Vietnamese food in the past and Vietnamese food now.
Mhm.
Yes,
Okay.
I think maybe I overthink it a lot.
Yes, you overthink. So don't overthink.
Yeah.
Okay. Just remember,
Yeah.
just have a conversation. That's all
Yeah.
you're doing.
Like you're
Yes.
talking with your friends. That's all.
Yeah,
But
Yes.
you will get a very good mark when you
that's right.
communicate naturally with like with your friends. Yes.
Yeah.
Vâng.
O-
Okay.
o- Okay, Ming Nok, I will see you on Thursday.
Thursday. Okay.
Sorry, Wednesday. Wednesday, Ming Nok.
Yes, yes, I received your email and it said 10 a.m. on Wednesday, so I have put it in my schedule.
Excellent.
Con có thể rủ cả Ngọc Linh join cùng với con cũng được. Cho nó
Vâng, thế để con hỏi bạn như nào?
thì hai đứa cùng join vào với nhau cho đỡ lãng phí thì thầy kèm cho hai đứa cùng ấy cho nó vui, xong để nghe xong để mà rút kinh nghiệm với nhau thôi, hiểu không?
Vâng, để con
Ok.
hỏi bạn. Dạ con cũng không biết bạn thi tầm nào với cả
Thế
con
tháng
là
8 tháng 8 nó thi, tháng
hai
8
tuần
nó
nữa.
thi.
2 tuần nữa con thi bác ạ.
Bác biết rồi. Ok, try. I think you will get the good marks. Don't
Hmm,
worry about that because
Con
you're
cảm
very
ơn
clever.
bác.
yes.
Okay.
Don't overthink, Ming
Yes,
Nok.
don't
Okay. Don't
overthinking.
overthink.
Okay, yes. Okay.
Okay, Ming Nok, I'll see you on Thursday. Wednesday. Sorry, Wednesday.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Gặp lại sau. Gặp lại
goodbye.
sau. Tạm biệt.
Yes,
Okay.
goodbye teacher. Cả nhà bác ạ.
Chào con.